Addiction, in any form, has a staggering impact on our lives.
Addiction is ruining devastating epidemic and ending them too soon.
It can make you feel so desperate in your situation
cause of death for people under 50.
that even the things you once cared about start to feel meaningless.
Overall mental health.
He was always very good at telling us, Mom and Dad, everything's going to be fine.
And the thing is, it's not just the case of drugs or alcohol. An addiction can be anything. From substances are the loudest, showing their damage quickly. Others work quietly, slowly reshaping how you think, how you feel, and how you live. One may define addiction as a chronic condition that involves compulsive seeking and taking of a substance or performing an activity despite harmful consequences. And one important thing about addiction is that it's not caused by a lack of willpower or weakness. And there isn't a single cause of addiction. It's a highly complex condition. A significant part of how addiction develops involves changes in your brain chemistry. At the center of the brain is the reward circuit. This region communicates using dopamine, a neurotransmitter. In action, dopamine is less about feeling pleasure and more about learning what to repeat. The real danger isn't just the drug or the behavior itself, but it's what it does to your brain over time. When you repeatedly take the drug or engage in the behavior, your brain slowly starts wiring it as the fastest way to feel relief, pleasure, or comfort. Eventually, whenever you feel stressed, empty, or anxious, your brain automatically suggests the behaviors it has learned are most rewarding. But the worst part is that over time, you begin to feel worse about yourself. You start losing control, and the thing that once made you feel better gradually becomes the very thing that traps you. And even worse, it can make you feel so desperate that escaping it starts to feel impossible, and you start lying about it to others. Addiction can literally change not only your life, but also the lives of the people who depend on you. It slowly affects your relationships, your responsibilities, your trust, and the environment around you. Even when you know you should stop, and you can see how much it has damaged your life and the environment around you, the anxiety, guilt, and emotional pain become overwhelming. And to escape the reality of the situation you're living in, you end up consuming even more of the very thing that is hurting you. And then you realize it's a loop. The more you try to escape how you feel, the more you return to the very thing making it worse. The systems and industries built around these know this very well, and the longer the people stay dependent, the more profitable it becomes. But the good part of this is that any of those addictions are curable, or precisely, it is effectively manageable. Depending on how severe your addiction is, the recovery period may vary from person to person. You see, one of the biggest reasons people seek any addiction is as a way of escaping reality. Even though childhood trauma and genetics can play a major role, someone without healthy connections is often far more vulnerable to addiction than others. That's why addiction is not just an individual problem, it's also a social one. And recovery is extremely difficult without environmental support, proper guidance, and professional help, especially in case of substance abuse, where withdrawal symptoms can become overwhelming both mentally and physically. Even though I mostly talked about drugs, alcohol, and social media, addictions can exist in many forms, like food, money,
I'm talking about this.
attention, work, gambling, and all of them can become dangerous if it's started to control you. And one of the ways to break free from addiction is by slowly breaking the pattern, replacing destructive habits with things that bring a healthier and more positive impact to your life. Remember, you can't change it in a single day, and most importantly, understand that it's hard. And accept that relapse can also be part of the journey, because much of the battle happens within yourself. But with patience and consistency, it slowly begins to get easier. So that's all for this video. If you made it all the way till the end, thank you. It genuinely means a lot to me. And from my own experience, even though I'm not heavily addicted to social media, I can still see how my screen time keeps growing, how easily I become a consumer of endless content, and how platforms are designed to keep me hooked. There were moments when I felt angry at myself for wasting so much time. And there's this strange inner guilt, watching your time slip through your fingers while you do nothing to stop it. And realistically, we can't completely remove things like social media from our lives. Even this video is reaching you through one. But it's always better to take action before reaching a point where you feel like you can't live without it, or before you begin regretting the time and energy you lost to it, the time that could have been used to build something meaningful in your life. And one thing I heard from people who fought addiction and survived it say is the same thing. Don't start in the first place. Of course, recovery is possible, but sometimes the road back costs some precious parts of yourself that you can never fully get back. And if someone constantly pressures you into trying those things, there's a good chance they're not the kind of friend you need around you. But one realization that changed me is this: no addiction is more important than life itself. I realized that doing things that bring purpose, meaning, and connection can give me a deeper kind of happiness than temporary escape ever will.